So you recently turned 50. Shock, horror. What the hell just happened? Where did the last 30 years go? I mean, a few moments ago, you were hanging out with your buddies in your 20s, having a good time, and the next thing you know, you're complaining about how painful it feels to get out of bed in the morning. What happened? It's like you hit 30 and somebody pushed a fast forward button and the last 20 or so years have just been an absolute blur. And yes, turning 50 can be a big shock. And it creeps up on you, or should I rather say, jumps out from behind a tree and gives you the fright of your life very, very quickly. You're just left wondering what happened. And once the dust settles, you start having some very scary and serious thoughts. So what you are thinking is quite possibly a bunch of lies. Lies that society has told you over and over and over again about what it means to get older. The first lie that we get told and we get programmed into us from a very young age by movies and TV programs and even the older generation is the lie of retirement. And why is retirement a lie? Well, if you go back a few decades, the only reason retirement came into play was so that they could move the older people out of the workforce and move the younger people into the workforce. And they incentivized it by saying, hey, we're going to give you money so that you can just kick back, relax, and do nothing for the rest of your life. But it's a lie, because retirement has put this thought into the population that somehow when you reach a certain age, you are no longer productive and you no longer really have anything to give to society. And that's the lie of retirement. It tells you that somehow you reach past your sell-by date and now you just have to step aside and let younger people take over. No, you are not useless and you haven't reached your sell-by date. In fact, what I want you to do is stop thinking about retirement. In today's age, where we have financial crises and things aren't looking so great, it's becoming more and more difficult for people to retire. So I just want you to stop thinking about it. It's a lie. And I want you to start thinking about productivity and contribution, which is something you can do until the day you are no longer here. Which brings us into the second lie that we've been told. And that is that getting older means slowing down. This is something else that's been rammed into us by movies and TV. And it's the image of the older person who just can't get out of bed in the morning and just has so much pain in their bodies. And, you know, they have to start walking with a walking frame and bent over double, and they can't do the things they did when they were younger. And this is what it means to get older. It means to slow down. And that's a lie. And I'll tell you why it's a lie. Have you ever heard of the white swan idea? It basically says that if all swans are white, it only takes one black swan to prove that wrong. I love hiking. And I know people in their mid-80s who still sprint up mountains. In fact, they put younger people to shame with the amount of energy that they have on the mountain. And I've seen lots of evidence to suggest that getting older doesn't mean slowing down, it means speeding up. Yet for so many people, they have this belief that because they have passed 50 and they're getting older, they have to start slowing down. And it simply isn't true. And that brings us to another lie that we get told, that old dogs can't learn new tricks. I know people who will say things like, oh, I'm too old to start learning this now, or I don't understand technology, I'm just too old. And it's absolute nonsense. You know, for a long time, we believed that you couldn't learn things or you couldn't learn new things after a certain age. And what neuroscience is showing now is that you have the capacity and the potential to keep learning until the day you... What is this idea that old dogs can't learn new tricks? It just simply isn't true. It's that old dogs don't want to learn new tricks because they believe that because they have reached a certain age, they are no longer useful and they have to slow down. It just simply isn't true. You stop learning because you don't want to learn. You have the same potential and capacity for learning new things that younger people have. But why is it that younger people seem to learn more and quicker than older people? I think it's because younger people don't have the mental burdens that older people have. They have more bandwidth than older people have. That's because older people are full of rubbish beliefs and unnecessary worries and doom and gloom thinking that younger people don't have. But I tell you this right now, if you take a young person and you fill them with the same nonsense, they will also struggle to learn new things. It has nothing to do with age. And then there is the lie that younger people are somehow better. And that's a doozy. It's another lie that gets drilled into us by TVs and movies, but is it true? Younger people might seem to have more energy, but older people have more wisdom and tend to be more calm and measured. Younger people tend to be irrational. Older people tend to think more rationally. What's better or worse about any of those things? No, younger people are not better. They might have more time ahead of them, but they don't have any more potential for greatness than older people. In fact, did you know that more people in their 50s start new businesses and become millionaires than people younger than 50? We have so much potential that waits to be discovered and has been untapped for most of our lives. So I know what you are thinking right now. I know lots of people who are getting older who have aches and pains and whose memory seems to be going and who has brain fog and putting on weight and really are slowing down. In fact, that's happening to me. I want to ask you this. Are these things happening because you are getting older, or are these things happening because you believe they should be happening? Or is it something else? And I'm going to tell you now that the core of all of your problems is inertia. You have stopped moving. You've stopped looking after your diet. You've stopped learning. You've stopped exercising. You've stopped following your dreams. You've stopped focusing on what you want. You've stopped connecting with people. You've stopped doing the things that are necessary for your well-being. And what happens when you stop? Well, have you heard of the phrase, use it or lose it? You are losing it. Now, not so long ago, we had those lockdowns, and I really bought into everything we were being told. And for the first 6 months, I just stopped. I did nothing. I sat at my computer desk and I played video games because, as far as I could see, there was really nothing else I could do. Then after about 6 months, my knees started hurting so bad that I thought that I had arthritis or something. I was really scared about that. And I started feeling quite depressed. I decided that enough was enough and I started doing yoga. And I got myself a rebounder and I started rebounding. And in a very, very short time, my knees stopped hurting and my mind cleared and I started feeling better. I just started moving again, that's all. And what I realized is that if I stopped moving, I started hurting. Is that possibly what's happening to people as they get older? The more they slow down and stop moving, the more they start hurting. Stop using your body starts hurting. Stop using your mind, you lose the ability to think. Stop connecting with other people, you start feeling lonely and depressed. Stop looking after your diet, you put on weight and you get sick. Now, I've told you that I love to go hiking, and I have this buddy who I hike with. And on our hikes, we talk about everything from solving world hunger to curing cancer and everything in between. And we've come to the conclusion that there's this window from 50 to 55 and upwards where you can make changes to your life. Any change that you make to your life and anything you put into practice in those years will set you up for success for the rest of your life. You can do it in your 60s, but it will be much, much harder. So if you are in your 50s now and you're wondering what to do, now is the time to revive your dreams. Now is the time to start exercising again. Now is the time to get out and start doing something with your life. Now is not the time to slow down and stop. So here is something that's going to help you. It's going to help you identify where and how you need to make changes. Think of well-being as a table with 4 legs. If just one of those legs is missing, the table is going to fall over. So your well-being has 4 components. And if just one of these components is missing, then you don't have well-being. They are energy. Do you have enough energy to get through the day, do what you need to do, and not experience a slump in the afternoon? Sleep. Do you fall asleep fairly easily? Sleep through the night, perhaps wake up like most people do and just fall back asleep and then wake up feeling refreshed? Is your mood generally good? Generally okay? Look, we all have down days. Down days are okay, but generally your mood is okay and you feel fairly motivated to do what you need to do. And then it's health. Do you never get sick? Or if you do get sick, you recover easily and quickly. Now, if one of these components is missing, then you don't have well-being. So how's it going for you? If all of these components are present in your life, then just keep doing what you are doing, you're doing fine. But if just one of them is missing, then you need to make some changes, because it's quite possible that you have stopped doing what you need to do to keep that well-being. Now, I know there are some people who don't have well-being because of circumstances outside of their control. But for most people, your problems are because of inertia. And here's what you can do to start getting back to well-being. Get active. And this can have a dual purpose. You can join a hiking club. Not only will this get you active and get you moving, but it will also satisfy that need for connection, because you can make some really good friends. Join a walking club. In fact, join any sports club that'll put you in contact with other people, that not only will get you moving, but will also get you connecting with other people. Fix your diet. If your diet is wrong, you will have no energy, you won't sleep, your mood will be bad, and you will get sick. And diet is a funny thing, because as a nutritionist, I've realized that there isn't a one size fits all or one solution for everybody. What works for you might not work for me. What I've realized is that there is 2 levels of nutrition. On the first level, there is what is true for one person is true for everyone. Like, if you eat too much sugar, it's bad for you. But then on the second level, there is what is true for me might not be true for you. So I might be able to have a little more sugar than you. Or I might be able to eat wheat without any problems and you can't. Or I might do better on a diet that is predominantly meat, whereas you can't eat meat. The problem is that people tend to go for a fad diet, like the paleo diet or the keto diet or the Galveston diet or the Atkinson diet, and find that it doesn't really work for them. Well, you've got to find out what works for you. And how do you know when a diet is working for you? Well, you'll have enough energy, you'll sleep, your mood will generally be good, and you won't get sick, or you'll recover quickly when you do get sick. Another thing you can look at is your digestion. If your digestion is working well and you are regular, then your diet is probably good. It's going to take a little homework on your part, but fix your diet. Here is something you can do right now, and this is one of those what's true for one is true for all principles. If it's in a packet, cut it out. Cut out all the processed stuff, and that will start having a tremendous impact on your life. And then you can fix your mind. I put this last because the memory problems you're having and the brain fog problems you're having are linked to a lack of exercise and a poor diet, but also to the fact that you don't use your mind anymore. You've kind of slipped into a passive just watch TV and cat videos on YouTube, and you don't use your mind for learning new things anymore. So here's something simple that you can start doing, which will start helping you develop and grow that gray matter. Learn a language. My wife and I downloaded a free language app, and you can do that right now and start learning a language. Pick a language you've always wanted to learn. Not really for the purpose of speaking it, but just so that you can start using your brain again. Read biographies. Watch YouTube videos that are going to start teaching you things you don't know and things that will challenge your mind. So, Gen Xers, are you with me? I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a comment below and let me know what lie you've bought into when you've turned 50 that you realize now is just so much nonsense. Like, subscribe, and perhaps share this video with someone you know who's been bitten by the inertia bug and needs a kickstart. And I'll see you all in the next one.